Very good afternoon and welcome. You're watching India Market Close. I'm Tamanna Inamdar and with me is Hersh Sayta. Let's take a quick look at how markets have fared today. Let's begin with the fact that it's a better day than was anticipated and markets have held up fairly decently in today's trade. I just want to pull up the Bank Nifty as well over here because we have the Nifty 50 and you're seeing the Bank Nifty doing quite well considering positive business updates which are coming. So the sort of prequel to the quarterly numbers has given us a sense that it's going to be a fairly decent quarter for financials. And you're seeing that in the Sensex and the Nifty as well. Let's pull up the advanced decline ratios to see what the key indices are doing. As usual, the mid-caps are the winners of the day and you're seeing that today as well. So a steady sort of a movement through the day and we are seeing markets hold up. Now that's a bit of a positive surprise, I would say, looking at how the global market cues were fairly negative, but India seems to have bucked that trend. So optimism of quarterly numbers would be the biggest issue over there. Let's take a look at the heat map and see how they've fared before we come to the broader indices and look at Bajaj Finance. Top of the heap over there. Again, business updates, and we're going to talk about that in detail on the show. ONGC doing well. Crude worries good for ONGC. You're seeing power stocks fire, and that continues to be a trend. Adani Ports, they're up about 3%, so a combination of factors there. Of course, big relief for the Adani pack yesterday. Fundraising and then positive brokerage reports has contributed to that. Some of the financials doing okay, but IT in terms of an index also continues to be laggard. So you're seeing TCS over there, LTI, Mindtree. I would say IT, auto and OMCs would be the weak spots in the market today. A quick look at the broader indices before I go across to Hersh for more stock-specific action. And if the year began with the idea that you're going to see the return of the large caps, well, that may still play out, but we're waiting for that because look at the mid-cap index, the Nifty mid-cap 100 up about 1.5% as well. And you're seeing small caps also up 1%. So on Nifty expiry day, you're seeing a good kind of an upswing. But the story lies, and Hersh, I would say, real estate stocks, power stocks, and especially those with positive business updates. So you're seeing a lot of pockets of stock-specific action. What's on your radar this afternoon?
Well, yes, absolutely. Let me start off with GM Breweries, quarter 3 numbers, and the stock is down on the back of that. Let's have a quick look at the chart. It's in fact fallen off post the results. When I'm looking at the numbers itself, revenue marginally higher, around 1% or so higher. And you're looking at EBITDA, which has contracted, margins which are contracting, and profit after tax also, which is lower. So that one's the first one on the radar. The other one, which Tamanna did speak about, was Bajaj Finance. On the back of, again, numbers, very strong set. 30% was the FY24 guidance for AUM growth. It's clocked a 35% growth, and that too in a quarter tellingly, which was a quarter in which the RBI has cautioned unsecured lending as well as increased risk weights. So despite that, that growth coming in 7% sequential is definitely keeping Bajaj Finance well above, 4.5% higher on Bajaj Finance. Quickly moving on, AU Small also reported its numbers largely flat at the start of trade today, but up and about 3.5% higher on AU as we speak. Again, the positivity comes from the deposit growth number, 31% year-over-year growth in deposits. On the loan side, not as great because the base is small. 20% loan growth is definitely decent, but the base is small. Quickly moving on to another banking counter, Ujjivan Small Finance. 27% loan growth, 29% deposit growth. This is another one where deposits have outstripped loans in terms of growth, and therefore the loan to deposit ratio has actually improved in a tough quarter. So that one in focus as well, up 4% as we speak. Then we have 2 updates quickly. One on Balaji Amines. Their plant has been recognized in Solapur, has been recognized by the government of Maharashtra, and on the back of that you can see the stock buzzing. 3% higher, around 750 odd crore of investment coming in there. And last off, we have the likes of a Sobha, which is within the real estate pack. The entire real estate pack is buzzing, but Sobha especially after the Motilal Oswal note, suggesting a 1400 rupee target price for Sobha, and you're seeing a 15% uptick on that counter. In fact, went up as much as 19% in the day today, intraday, Tamanna.
I mean, the whole real estate story is an astonishing one, and we'll get into more details on it. Sobha, Brigade, Macrotech, all of them seeing a great run-up today in trade. But let me quickly bring in Rajesh Palviya, SVP Technical and Derivatives Research at Axis Securities, joining us on the show today. Rajesh, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on NDTV Profit. We're looking like we're having a good day, isn't it? How far to 22,000 now? Or is it premature to say that?
Good afternoon, Tamanna. Good afternoon, Hersh. Good afternoon, everyone. So we are heading towards 22,000. Yes, it may take some time because some consolidation activity is going on in the index. But definitely, yes, sooner or later we are moving towards 22,000, or we may continue further beyond 22,000 level also, as overall structure is bullish, broad-based market is looking quite bullish, and sectoral rotation is also happening in the market. So we expect that some consolidation for some couple of days, and then possibly once we able to take out 21,750 on Nifty spot, then we can see another round of short covering in Nifty, and then that can add furthermore upside towards 22,000 level. So maybe in next 10-15 trading session we could see 22,000 level for Nifty. Bank Nifty is looking a little attractive, as we have seen that in the previous session there was a Bank Nifty expiry, a weekly expiry, and Bank Nifty took support from 47,500. That was the important put base concentration for weekly as well as for the monthly expiry, and almost those level acted as a good support area, and we have seen again smart recovery from those level. So for Bank Nifty, we believe that once we crosses above 48,200, then possibly Bank Nifty can add furthermore support to the Nifty to inch up further higher, and Bank Nifty can head further higher towards 48,600 to 800 in the continuation of this pullback. So both indices are looking bullish. Buy on dip should be your strategy. For Nifty, 21,500 is the key level to watch for on the downside.
Right, bullish Rajesh, good having you here. Quickly, your calls.
So first stock definitely from the real estate space, and that is Godrej Property. Very strong buying action across all real estate space, and looking at the overall sector structure, we believe that furthermore upside we can see in most of the real estate stocks from here onwards. Godrej Property has given a very strong breakout. Rounding bottom formation is taking place on the weekly chart. And after a consolidation of almost for 3-4 weeks now, stock is breaking out. So looking at overall structure for Godrej Property, we believe that this stock can scale up to the target of 2280 to 2300. So one can buy this stock with stop loss of 2185. Second stock is from cement space, that is Ambuja Cement. Since last couple of trading session, stock is showing good traction. Long built up was there in the data on the derivative front, and stock managed to be breakout of last 3-week consolidation on a weekly chart. Looking at the breakout, we believe that Ambuja Cement can continue furthermore upside towards 585. So one can buy this stock with stop loss of 538. And the third stock is from banking space, that is Bandhan Bank. Very strong momentum in last couple of trading session. Long built up is clearly there, and now stock is approaching to its multiple supply zone. Once stock crosses about 263, 264 zone, then possibly this stock can really further higher towards 275 to 280. So Bandhan Bank, one can look to buy at the current level with stop loss of 252.
Follow up there, Rajesh. I want a little more detail from you on your picks on in the reality space, because the kind of buzz we're seeing is crazy today, and one sense is that we're going to see perhaps fantastic numbers in this quarter. So Q3 is expected to be good. Business updates are likely to trickle in over the next few days. You've had a couple of reports talking about 11-year highs of registration, at least in Mumbai on the residential side. But having said that, what would be your top picks in the realty space, apart from Godrej Properties that you've mentioned, which still have enough of an upside on the charts?
So we like DLF also. Very strong run-up is in the stock in last couple of months, but still we believe that DLF is the one pick where one can focus at this moment, and buy on dip should be a strategy. Buy and accumulate one can do in the DLF, and we are projecting target of positional basis 840 to 860 could be the next target for DLF in the continuation of this uptrend. And another stock that we like very much, that is macro tech developer Lodha, is also looking very promising. A very strong buying action in last couple of trading session, and looking at the overall structure, looking at the accumulation activity, and now breaking out on consolidation, that clearly shows that Lodha can continue furthermore upside. 1250 to 1300 could be the next target on a positional basis. So overall, most of the stocks have done well in recent past, and we believe that Nifty Realty Index is clearly showing that this rally can extend further, and we can see another 10 to 15% kind of up move in Nifty Realty also.
Absolutely. I want to come also to the stock of the day that we have picked, and it's not just the reality space, it's Torrent Power. Let's just pull up Torrent Power and look at the kind of buzz that we've been seeing. Astonishing. Now, down actually from its peak, but still up about 7% steady. Now, the news is that they've got an MOU with the Gujarat government of close to 47,000 crores for a company whose market cap is 49,000 crores. That's obviously a big deal. But remember, at the end of the day, it's an MOU. Now, what are they going to do? They're going to create, solar energy of about 3,450 megawatts, 1,045 megawatts of hybrid energy projects, and a 7,000 megawatt solar park with a green hydrogen and ammonia facility. So Torrent Power seeing a fantastic run-up as a key player in the renewable investment space. Do you track this at all, Rajesh? Do you like Torrent Power? Yeah?
Yeah. So very strong setup across all time frame for Torrent Power. A series of higher top, higher bottom formation on weekly, daily, as well as on the monthly chart. Very strong run-up we have seen throughout the year for the stock. It's a clear outperforming stock in this segment. And looking at the up move in today's session, it clearly shows that now if stocks sustain above 1,000 level, then possibly we can see an extension of this rally towards 1,200 to 1,300. So this is a buy on dips category stock. One can keep in their short to medium term, long term portfolio also in this stock, and very strong bullish structure on across all time frame. So we are holding our bullish view for this stock. Your stop loss on the downside should be at around 920. But if it's hold at 1,000 level, then possibly next target on the positional basis towards 1,200 to 1,250 we can see.
Absolutely. Sunny Agarwal is with us as well. Sunny, welcome to the show. He is head of fundamental equity research at SBICAP Securities. And I'll just come to you in a second on how the markets are looking. It's a good day so far, but I just want to quickly address, as historian, you would have seen flashes on your screen on what's happening with pre-call. Very interesting because Minda Corp had initiated a buy of 15% of the company, which is its rival in the auto cluster space last year. And pre-call had gone to the Competition Commission of India saying that, please look into this. The CCI is now intending to conduct further inquiry into Minda Corp's proposed investment in the company. Minda Corp wants to take their stake up to over 24%. CCI believes the investment is likely to result in an adverse effect on competition for many reasons. And so Minda and pre-call is both what we should look at. Their attempt to take the stake up to 24.5% has hit ahead over there. So interesting development, Hersh, especially in the auto ang space, when you're seeing the majors fire right now.
Well, yes. So it's a very interesting development because pre-call has run up significantly over the last 6 months. We've seen 65% gain in terms of returns for pre-call shareholders. And that's reflective of the price. Of course, we're seeing a bit of a downtake on the back of this news. But even today, we have shareholders or other promoters of pre-call holding roughly 38.5% shares. And this TIF is a well-known TIF now. A lot of that has been priced in. But this is a new development, of course, in favor of the promoters. And the CCI clearly calling out that this could hamper competition, and therefore they will conduct an investigation, which is big.
We should get a more detailed report in a bit for you on that story, but one to watch. Very quick opening comments from Sunny before we go into break. Sunny, great to have you on the show. You know, we started the day thinking about what is going to happen in the Indian markets. Are we going to follow global cues? But we seem to be leading the way. What do you think is driving the optimism, and is there more to come?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for having me on the show. What I feel is that basically two big events which is keeping very market excited is upcoming Gujarat Vibrant Gujarat Summit, which is scheduled from 10th to 12th of Jan. At the same time, vote on account budget, which is on 1st of Feb. So I feel and at the same time, the hope of rate cut. So basically what I feel is that the sectors where there is an expectation of healthy order flow or order win, or for that matter MOU. So sectors like power, for that matter defense, railways, rate sensitive sectors such as the real estate, auto. I think at the same time the stock specific provisional numbers which are coming for a monthly data or quarterly data, that is keeping market optimistic. I think it's a stock specific market, so rather than focusing on key benchmark indices, what I feel is that henceforth the market is a stock specific, and based on the companies which are likely to report healthy number in the December quarter, which is the result season will kickstart. Anyway, it has kickstarted from today itself. So GM Breweries has reported the number. So I think stock specific market, and again, you have rightly pointed out that despite of negative global cues, the Indian markets are holding up very well, and so we continue to remain optimistic with a stock-specific money-making opportunity which exists in the market.
Obviously, absolutely. Nifty comfortably over 21,651 at this point, and looking to end the day in style, possibly. Let me quickly go across to Mehika. She has a list of volume buzzers in today's trade. Mehika, what's on the list?
Yes. So first we have SOBA, which is trading at around 12.8% is 30-day average, and it went to an intraday high of 19.22%. And this was on the back of Motilal Oswal rating the stock as its top pick for 2024 and implying a 25% upside at a target price of 1,400. Then we have a Torrent Power, where the company rose to an intraday high of 13.5%, and after signing 4 MOUs with the Gujarat government worth 47,500 crores. Then we had a Johnson's Control, which is Hitachi Air Conditioning, which rose to a 7.69% intraday high and was trading at 10 times its 30-day average. And this was mainly on the back after the central government amended the quality control orders for certain air conditioner components, where the hermetic compressors of more than 7,000 gigawatt capacities are now removed from the order. Then we had a GE T&D India, which rose to an intraday high of around 4.6%, and this was on the back of a block trade where 2.5 lakh shares changed hands at 600 a piece, and the deal was worth 15 crores. And then we had a Borosil Renewables, no specific trigger, but in terms of the demand and growth for renewables and solar glass is positive for the company, since it is the largest manufacturer of solar glass in India. And lastly, we had Kolte Patil Developers, which also rose to an intraday high of 11.3%, and this was mainly in line with the sectoral action with the realty stocks picking up today.
All right, thank you for that, Mehika. We're going to take a very short break and come back and talk of some of those stocks. Sunny Agarwal says the entire game is stock specific. What's on his list? What's on Rajesh's list? All of that coming up after the short break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching India Market Close here on NDTV Profit. Thanks for staying tuned. Quickly on to some stocks which were buzzing on the back of their Q3 numbers. Let me start off with Bajaj Finance. It saw very strong growth in terms of its AUM, but before that, customer franchise up 5% sequential, 22% year over year. Around 40 lakh odd customers added in Q3. New loans booked also very close to 1 crore of new loans booked, up 26% year over year. And on the back of that, the stock was up and kicking 4.5% higher as we speak. AUM growth of 35%. The guidance was 30 for FY24, so it's well above guidance at least at the moment. And deposit growth also matched AUM growth, 35% deposit growth as well clocked in. Let's also take it to the likes of an IndusInd actually. It has done quite well in trade as well today. You saw good growth on the advances front, 20%. Slightly lower than what most market participants were penciling in, but it's guided for 18 to 23% loan growth. So it's not a very bad number to have 20%, especially when your guidance is 18 to 23, pretty much in that band. And deposit growth at 13%, that may cause a bit of worry because your credit to deposit ratio has gone up. Among the other buzzers, you had the likes of Vedanta as well, if we can pull that up. And we saw aluminium output go up. We saw zinc output come down, oil and gas come down. But the key here is the restructure on Vedanta. Stock is up because of the debt restructuring that's at play as well.
I want to come to you because you track this, Hersh, and of course we'll get to Vedanta. But talking about the business updates, since you track the financial space,
sure.
Bajaj Finance, Ujjivan, IndusInd, what is the street looking at? Because the entire space has been rewarded. It's looking good so far. Bajaj Finance, you qualify it contextually that even after the RBI sort of clamping down on smaller ticket loans, they seem to be doing well. But what are the parameters that seem to be ticking the boxes so far?
Well, what seems to continue to happen, Tamanna, surprisingly, is credit growth continues to remain extremely robust. System level credit growth obviously is at 15 to 16%, which is very, very healthy. And on higher basis, mind you, because this time last year as well, you saw an uptick in credit growth anyway. So we were seeing that uptick, and now you have a higher base on which also growth seems to be coming through. So that's one trend which is at play. The other trend, though, which is most important in my view, is going to be the liquidity position of companies, because you're starting to see the credit to deposit ratio start to shrink because your deposit growth needs to start catching up with your loan growth, which doesn't seem to be happening for a lot of players. You had two players today which reported higher deposit growth than credit growth, but those are exceptions. AU Small Finance and Ujjivan Small Finance. Both of those had higher deposit growth than credit growth, but the others are seeing a shrink with regard to their credit to deposit ratio. So that's the other trend which is starting to play out. And of course, that will start putting a lid on credit growth as well. So one would have to look out for how long can this delta be sustained, and which banks or financial institutions or lenders start capping growth because this delta is too large.
Yeah, but for now, it seems like good news. I just want to get a quick take from Sunny Agarwal and Rajesh, who are with us on the show, on the entire space and what we've seen. Bajaj Finance, of course, looking fantastic today. One of the top gainers, Ujjivan as well. Sunny, do you want to start? What are you liking in this space?
Yeah, I think, Tamanna, the entire space is buzzing with a decent credit growth as well as deposit growth. But one thing, the key monitorable for me will be when the company come out with an actual numbers, will be a commentary, especially on NIM. So what I feel that for the next 3 to 4 quarters, the fight is on deposit mobilization. So I think the NIM commentary on NIM will be very important. At the same time, asset quality, especially on the unsecured book, the way RBI is behind tightening the lending norms for the unsecured portfolio. So I feel the commentary on the how are things panning out in the unsecured book, that will be one of the important parameter which I would like to watch. But having said that, the larger size franchisee such as Canara Bank, for that matter, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, where there is a relatively kind of a more certainty in terms of that at least they will able to mobilize a decent amount of deposit at benign cost of fund. So that gives a lot of comfort that at least the NIM will be protected for all these large players. And at the same time, asset quality, I believe, will continue to remain healthy for all these large size banks. So I would like to stick to a larger size franchisee rather than going to a mid size or small size bank. So again, my top pick here would be HDFC Bank, just because of the valuation comfort, trading at 2.5 times price to book. And if somebody is really looking at mid size to small size bank, then one can look at Karur Vysya Bank and Equitas Small Finance Bank.
Sure, thanks for that, Sunny. Rajesh, if I can quickly come to you, your views, thoughts within the banking sector, what are you finding attractive?
So Harsh, we believe that banking and financial space is likely to continue furthermore upside, and the whole banking basket as well as the NBFC stocks are showing good traction in terms of buying. From banking space, from private banking space, yes, we like IndusInd Bank at this moment, and looking at the breakout on the long-term chart, that clearly shows that IndusInd Bank can continue furthermore outperformance, and possibly we can see a target towards 1750, 1800 kind of target on a positional basis. So one can look to buy this stock. From PSU Bank, we like Bank of Baroda has shown a good breakout in recent past, and looking at the overall structure, we believe that now the stocks holds about 210 mark, then possibly the next target we can see towards 265, 270 on the higher side. So Bank of Baroda is also looking promising. From NBFC space, we like L&T Finance Holding. That stock is also forming a rounding bottom sort of formation on a weekly as well as on the monthly chart. And looking at overall structure, we believe that now if stocks continues to hold above 165 mark, then possibly this stock can scale up to the next target of 195 to 200. So overall, banking as well as the NBFC space both are looking promising at this moment. Even from housing finance company, LIC Housing Finance is also looking very attractive. Very recent in the very recent past, we have seen a very strong breakout. Long built-up is clearly there. Rollover data was very encouraging. So we believe that LIC Housing Finance can also exhibit good amount of rally in the near term. We are projecting target of 620, 640. So one can look to buy this stock also with stop loss of 550.
All right. Quickly want to just address GMR Airports, large deal over there. 1.96 crore shares have changed hands. That's just about 0.3% of equity, but in the band of 84.25 to 84.5, the stock up 4%. It's a day of reality. We need to talk a little more about what's happening in that sector and why. Look at Sobha, one of the top gainers in the mid-cap space today, and firing about 8% up even now. Anushi joining us. Oh, sorry, my mistake. 15% up now as we speak. Anushi joining us with more. Anushi, do we know what is fueling the rally?
Right. So coming to Sobha Limited, as you mentioned, a 15% upside over here.
Can't quite hear you.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah. So coming to Sobha, quite a 15% of upside over here. With the this is on the back of the Motilal Oswal note, wherein they have picked Sobha as its top pick for 2024, implying about 25% upside at a target price of rupees 1,400. So a couple of reasons that they have cited. One is the expected scale-up of launches that the company is making, which will take its land area to about 9 to 10 million square feet going ahead. Also, they see about a 25% CAGR growth in its pre-sales numbers over the course of FY23 to 26. Along with this, what they're also noting is the re-rating in the land valuation with the monetization of Bengaluru's land parcels. So that is on Sobha. But what is interesting is the whole Nifty pack is buzzing in trade today, with the index being more than 5% up. This was mainly led by, as we mentioned, Sobha Limited, but there is also DLF and Godrej properties that is bringing the sector to the focus. Along with this, there are other realty stocks like Puravankara and Signature Global and Kolte Patel also showing about 8 to 10% upside here. Now, we have to note, Tamanna, over here that this is on the back of the Q3 business updates that we are going to be seeing in the next few sessions. So, quite an up move before the results start coming, before the updates start flowing in.
All right. Thanks you for that, Anushi. Sunny, quick view on the realty pack. We had an opportunity to speak to Rajesh earlier, and his stock pick was Godrej Properties, which is doing phenomenally well today. But the question is that has the market run ahead of itself? Are the numbers on ground justifying the kind of run-up we've seen, or you see a larger upside here?
Yeah, I think the kind of registration number which we have seen for the month of December, so we have seen a record registration for the Mumbai market also. At the same time, the way commentary is coming from all the residential real estate companies seems to be very optimistic. The sale potential or GDV, what we call, is very robust. I mean, you check presentation of any company and everyone is very pretty bullish that 20, 30%, 40% growth over the span of next 2 years seems to be very easy cakewalk for all these companies. And that is the reason I think market is reacting to that development. At the same time, maybe market is discounting the rate cut cycle, which may start maybe in the second half of this calendar year. So affordability factor is something which may play out in real estate sector. At the same time, what I feel is that whenever historically we have seen that whenever stock markets do well, people make money in the stock market. Obviously, a natural flow of money goes to the real estate sector also. And to that extent, I feel that there may be a slight bump up in terms of sale potential for all these real estate companies. And if I have to pick one company at a current juncture, what I feel is that basically two companies I would like to highlight. One is the Century Textile, where I feel for FY24, the GDV value is close to around 3,000 crore. And FY25, the GDV value is likely to be around 100 crore rupees. Again, a Mumbai focused market doing pretty well. And again, one more player is on the commercial side, which is Nesco Limited. What I feel is that after the COVID impact, the exhibition business is doing pretty well now. So that business is back with a full strength and trading at a reasonable valuation. 1,000 crore cash sitting on the balance sheet. The existing exhibition center will see expansion in capacity. At the same time, IT Park is likely to see expansion in capacity in next 2 years. So I think well placed for the decent earning growth and trading at a reasonable valuation.
Right. Thank you so much for those views, Sunny. Trading at a reasonable valuation, Tamanna, 6.72% was the top in terms of the gains that the Nifty Realty Index made today. That's the highest gain since the 7th of October 2021. And that's interesting because over the last 2 years, plenty has happened. But today, it seems that the Nifty Realty Index...
Real estate moves in cycles of 10 years each. Decadal cycles. So hopefully the run-up will also continue for some time. There's been a slump for a while in the actual market.
Correct. And that seems to be what Sunny seems to be suggesting as well. But it's time for a short break. On the other side, of course, we'll get you all that's happening in derivative markets as well as top buy today, sell tomorrow ideas. Stay tuned.
You're watching India market close, and it's looking like a decent close for the market, at least leading into it. First Nifty expiry, weekly Nifty expiry of 2024. Agam is standing by. Agam, any excitement happening there?
Not really. I reckon this certainly is good news for all those who have written options today. So yes, a decent expiry, a positive one, as well as a very quiet one for the Nifty options coming through. As far as your futures are concerned, we are not looking at any traction whatsoever. As you can see, very little change in open interest here, even as the index advances by well over 0.5%. For the Bank Nifty futures, alts as well, while the underlying advances by 1%. Well, we are looking at a good 3.5% increase in open interest towards fresh longs. Now, we were keeping an eye on options because of the weekly options expiry. Remember, we were talking about the range being anywhere between 21,500 on the lower end and on the higher end, 21,700. It seems like we're going to get an expiry bang in the middle of that mark, and which also means that a lot of traders who had in fact written these respective call and put options are standing to make a substantial amount of profits. To talk about the change in OI very quickly as far as that goes, as one might expect, we saw a little more writing around the calls. Of course, a lot of traders took advantage of that. But I want to talk quickly about stocks as well. Let's pull up that list and see there is in fact an increase in OI towards longs seen in Alchem Laboratories and India Cement, Navin Fluorine, LTIM and PVR, Inox on the other end, looking at shorts building up. And among those stocks which saw, well, unwinding, we see a whole host of names in terms of short covering for Nalco, Coromandel, IEX, Petronet, LNG, and Cipla on the other hand, looking at longs and winding. As I said earlier, it's been a quiet Nifty options expiry. Perhaps this is not such bad news, at least for those who were short volatility today.
Right, not such bad news, but a quiet expiry. Nothing to complain about, I guess, Agam. But let me quickly move on. The Nifty IT index, has been, a little bit weak. Has shown some weakness in the current calendar year over the last 2 to 3 days. And I quickly wanted to have our guests and some views on it. Nifty IT largely flat today, but we have a Morgan Stanley note somewhere demonstrating some level of weakness. So, Sunny, let me first take it to you. Your views on where IT currently stands at. We saw good 7-8% rally in December, followed by a bit of a cool-off over the last few days. Where do you see valuations? Where do you see pockets of valuation, mid-cap versus large-cap IT?
Yeah, Hersh, so basically the rally, what I feel in the month of December was fueled by an expectation that with the rate cut cycle, which is likely to begin in US, that would lead to the increase in discretionary spending by the clients of large IT companies based out of US and Europe. And that led to the rally. At the same time, what I feel is that there was under ownership as far as IT sector is concerned. So we all no, there is a low 2 to 3% growth we are seeing in the large cap IT companies, and that led to the rally in the month of December. But having said that, what I feel is that with the results season very close by for the IT company, I would like to hear from the management the commentary on demand environment, especially on discretionary spend. On cost side, I think I'm not worried. Cost side already has been taken care by reduction in the attrition rate. So that part is already taken care of. The only issue is of demand. And at the same time, we have recently seen the large contract of Infosys getting terminated, $1.5 billion contract. So that shows that maybe all the new deal wins may come at a lower rate, lower price, and that may hurt the margin. Again, we need to hear from the management on outlook on basically demand environment and margins going forward. So, however, in terms of valuation, if you ask me, large cap versus mid cap, so mid cap companies definitely are trading at an expensive valuation. But having said that, they are exhibiting a high growth rate also. A KPIT, a case in point, growing at 25%. In fact, that was the only company which has upgraded its earning guidance during the Q2. And again, it's a play on electrification, which is going on in the automobile space. So there are certain themes which will keep on growing at a rapid clip. A case in point, AI, or for that matter, cloud migration. So company like Happiest Mind, or for that matter, Tata ELXP may continue to deliver a relatively faster growth, and hence they are trading at a premium valuation. In terms of value buy or comfort in terms of valuation, definitely large cap IT pack is a place to be in. In case the management is gung-ho on the demand environment for next 3 to 4 quarters, then definitely we may see next round of buying in the large cap IT companies also.
So tepid trade, I would say, in the Nifty IT. Definitely has recovered through the day, but completely flat. Rajesh, LTI, Mindtree, HCL Tech, losing steam today. Your view on these two as well as Infosys?
So ahead of earnings for these bellwethers IT companies, I think some profit taking is happening in the most of the IT space. As still the cautious approach is still there on IT space at this moment. Though we have seen a good recovery in month of December, but overall, if we analyze the long-term structure for large cap IT stocks, still they are struggling to cross their major threshold level on the long-term chart. But yes, if we compare with the mid cap IT, they are doing good, and they are one notch better compared to the large cap IT space. So I think outperformance from IT sector would be in mid cap IT compared to the large cap IT is going to continue. As you talked about HCL Tech, stock has managed to do breakout in December, but some profit taking is happening now. Stock slipped below to 20-day moving average. Looking at the overall long-term structure, I think in this corrective move, stocks comes near to 1350, 1360 zone. That is good again, good level to re-enter in the stock on the decline. So I think one should wait to buy this stock around another 2 to 3% kind of correction. If you get, then one should look to enter in this stock, as overall long-term structure is looking bullish for HCL Tech. On the downside, the major support area is placed at around 1320, so where one can keep stop loss. LTI Mindtree, yes, again, this stock is also cooling off from its recent high. But if we analyze on the near-term, short-term structure, the major support now for LTI Mindtree is towards 5800, 5750. So another 3-4% down move we can see in coming days, and then one can look to again re-enter in the stock. So wait for some more corrective move in LTI Mindtree as well as in HCL Tech. I think from IT space, mid-cap IT space, that from Coforge is looking promising. I think these stock may exhibit upward momentum from the current level. Looking at the overall structure, we believe that if Coforge hold 5900, then one can look to buy this stock.
All right, so Coforge is definitely on the radar right now. Now, the only Nifty 50 constituent to gain over 100% in 2023, a growing share in the EV space, a strong product portfolio, and a top pick for brokerages all across the board was Tata Motors. The only multi-bagger, at least from the Nifty, in 2023 has had a stellar year. To tell us more about that journey, that drive, and whether there are speed breakers ahead, I'm going across to Himansh. Himansh.
Thank you, Tamanna. So Tata Motors and its story for 2023 as the only multi-bagger for this year, for the past year, it's a story that one must really look at. The stock has been up for several consecutive sessions as it's currently trading near its life highs, and it's also one of the top pick of brokerages. But this hasn't been the only year where it has delivered stellar returns. In 2021, it was up 2.6 times. In 2009, the stock returned over 5 times. And in 2023, you're seeing it jump 2 times. Now, if one were to see what's been really driving this performance, it is firstly the PV portfolio that covers its petrol and CNG and diesel models has been performing really well with great launches and extremely well performance. In FY23, the SUVs alone contributed to 66% of its overall sales. The EV is another game changer for this company, where the Tata Motors maintains its leadership with a robust pipeline. Although it used to maintain its leadership at 80% of the market share levels, it's now down to 73%, yet it's a formidable opponent in the market. Thirdly, you have the second consecutive year where passenger vehicles are set to cross 500,000 of its sales. Lastly, it's on track to become a net debt-free company, which is something that the credit rating agencies have also been attesting to. Now, the multi-bagger portfolio is backed by passenger vehicle models such as Ultras, Tiago, Tiger, and Nexon. And its EV model, the current portfolio, also looks really good with Punch, Harrier, and Safari. The robust pipeline for this EV model, though, is looking even better this year with the likes of Harrier EV and Curve EV that are soon to be launched. And Curve EV is a especially good one because it's being made from the ground up, unlike the previous models that were retrofitted to the ICE engines and to adapt to the EV model. Now let's take a look at what's this EV contribution in terms of volumes. In FY24, as of now, EV contributes to about 13% of its portfolio sales, and whereas the volumes stand at about nearly 32,000. It once was at 2% levels back in FY21, with volumes at around 4,218 levels. So it's been a journey for Tata Motors and its EV performance as well. In terms of its credit rating performance, let's take a look at that. You have Moody's and S&P that recently upgraded the stock with a positive outlook on the back of its debt reduction plans. Its net debt has come down significantly by about 5,000 odd crores over these past 2 fiscal years. And lastly, if one were to look what's ahead for Tata Motors, well, firstly, the EV pipeline that I have mentioned. Secondly, if it's going to be able to execute on its achieving its net debt target and reducing it, JLR performance is certainly one key thing to track. Well, that's a story for another time, but stay tuned.
Right. Thanks so much for that, Himansh. Let me quickly go to Rajesh for his BTST picks because it's that time of the day. Very quickly, Rajesh, if you can have your picks.
So, Hersh, Bharti Airtel is looking promising. Stock managed to give breakout of its previous swing high. Recently, it has made a high of around 1,045, and now stock is trading above those levels. So I think Bharti Airtel can be a BTST trade. One can expect a target of around 1,075 to 1,085 with stop loss of 1,030. Another stock that we like at this moment, that is Voltas. Stock managed to give breakout on the long-term chart after a long consolidation. Stock is now breaking out and looking at overall structure and long build-up was clearly there in the data. Voltas can scale up to the level of 1,040, 1,050. So one can buy this stock with stop loss of 995. And the third stock is from pharma space. That is Aurobindo Pharma is looking promising. I think whole pharma space is continuing a good uptick. So Aurobindo Pharma one can look to buy for upside target of 1150, 1160. Stop loss would be at around 1,095.
Absolutely. I just quickly want to address this piece of news on DCM, Sriram. And let me come to you, Sunny, because you were talking about Vibrant Gujarat and orders coming in and some news here on DCM Shriram. The stock nearly 10% up. They've signed an MOU with the Gujarat government to invest 12,000 crores by 2028. They've signed the MOU for investment in manufacturing of chemical and petrochemical products. And you briefly talked about this. I'm assuming we're going to hear more of such news flows and orders coming in. Most of them will be MOUs. That's typically what happens around Vibrant Gujarat. Anything on your radar here, Sunny, and would you buy on such news?
Tamanna, definitely these are all MOU, and actual investment take maybe 5 to 10 years to fructify. So obviously short term there may be a spike excitement based on this news, but one need to take into cognizance the number and the likely earning delivery in the next 4 to 8 quarter. Definitely that should be one of the important parameters to look at. And for DCM Shriram, I have not seen the press release exactly what they are going to do. So let me go through the press release just a moment here.
And anything on your list for buy today, sell tomorrow? BTST, Sunny, what is on your radar for tomorrow?
I would not like to give a BTST call. In fact, I would like to give a slightly a call maybe which can be held from a positional perspective. So Engineers India is the one stock which I like. We have seen a decent up move recently from 160, 170 band to 200 rupees. But I feel there is a lot of steam which is left in the company purely based on the robust order book and the way capex in the oil and gas sector is likely to happen over the period of next 5-10 years. I believe Engineers India is one of the sole beneficiary, and one can definitely add this stock with a medium to long term price target of 240 to 50 rupees in the portfolio. And one more company which I like from infrastructure segment is Welspun Enterprises. Again, a play on water and roads, very robust order book, close to 9,000 crore order book, 3 times annual sales. What I feel is that profit which the company has posted 200 crore profit in financial year 23, that profit is likely to be double by FY25 in span of 2 years, and ROE will expand from 8% to 15%, trading at a reasonable valuation. Definitely this can also be a part of short to medium term.
Right, thank you so much for that, Sunny. But quickly on to corporate news. The Burman family, owners of Dabur India, have called for a probe into the allotment of shares of Religare Finvest to Rashmi Saluja through employee stock ownership plans. Sajit Mangat joins us with more on that. Sajit, talk to us about what's happening there.
The Burman versus the board of Religare Enterprises battle is, getting more aggressive with the latest allegations coming from the Burman family, which allege that nearly 2.15 crore ESOPs were allowed or granted to Rashmi Saluja, who is the chairman and managing director of Religare Enterprises. This was done through grant of ESOPs and in basically Religare Finvest. The ESOPs on conversion would be equivalent to 8% equity in the NBFC arm. This entire allegation has been put by the Burman family against the board of Religare Enterprises and the independent directors, which has been refuted by the board and the independent directors, claiming that it is these claims are without any evidence. In fact, the board had come out with a statement earlier which said that the permission was taken from the shareholders of Religare Finvest. Also, they had informed the shareholders of Religare Enterprises on September 1 through BSC, and the entire approval of these ESOPs was done at the AGM, which was held on September 26th of last year. And though the grants have been approved by the shareholders, it hasn't been brought in front of the NRC, which is the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, and so no fresh shares have been issued, and there is no violation of SEBI's takeover regulation. Now, this fight has been going on for a couple of months, and it started off ever since the Burman family mounted an open offer to get control of Religare Enterprises.
Absolutely, Sajid. So definitely an interesting story that we'll be tracking. It's an interesting corporate fight as well. But we're nearing close and we're looking like we're closing in style on the markets today, close to the day's high. The bank Nifty, fantastic, about over 1% up. Over the 48,260 mark. The Nifty sitting comfortably over 21,650. In fact, looking like you're going to close maybe over 21,670 as well. So it's been a good day. What has been firing? It's not just your large caps. The mid cap story has been robust, I would say. So look at that, nearly 2% up on the Nifty mid cap 100. Small cap stocks also doing quite well, fairly well. I'll just quickly pull up the heat map and then we'll go into the sectoral stories, because this is a market where stock-specific news, sectoral news, business updates and order flow updates is driving stock prices. Bajaj Finance definitely a case in point where positive business updates are showing, in the stock price today. Very robust numbers over there, despite some hiccups, some speed breakers from the RBI constraints on small ticket loans, but that doesn't seem to be an issue at all. ONGC continues to do very well. What's on the losing side? So pharma has lost its steam today, and we saw that in some of the small cap counters as well, but Dr. Reddy is down about 2%. Not a great day for the entire auto pack. Bajaj Auto coming off after a huge run-up on buyback news as well. So there you are. You're closing fairly well, I would say, fairly well. 151 points up, close to the 21,700 mark. So not too shabby at all on a day when we were thinking you'd have a tough kind of opening for the Indian markets. I just want to pull up sectors for a second to tell you how we performed in. Like we said, realty was definitely on top of it. Look at that, nearly 7% up on the realty index. Bank Nifty up 1% up. But public sector enterprises, energy, all doing very, very well today, as are PSU banks. And when banks are up, that's generally a good day. IT stocks, not so much, and that overhang will continue perhaps till we see the numbers. But on the mid-cap space, some complete whoppers in the last end of trade, isn't it, Hersh?
Well, yes, absolutely. You had the likes of a DCM, Shriram, do extremely well on the back of that investment commitment that it has made. Within, of course, the mid-cap bank space also, we saw plenty of activity through the day. So we did see a lot of support across mid-cap counters, which supported the Nifty mid-cap index, up 1.7%. I'll just quickly pull out names within the Nifty mid-cap, and if we can do that as well. We had the likes of a Macrotech, we had the likes of a Godrej Properties leading the pack. We also had the likes of a Torrent Power, which was up 7.5%+ in trade today. Of course, Torrent Power also on the back of order wins. Outside of that, we had the likes of Prestige Estates, Oberoi Realty. So within the top 10, we had almost 6 to 7 within the Nifty mid-cap 100, which top 10 gainers of the day. We had 6 to 7 gainers coming in from the real estate pack, which is quite significant, honestly. Even among the losers, you had the likes of a Mankind and a Gland. So the flavor largely was that pharma was a bit of a drag. But with that, we're completely out of time on this edition of the show. Thank you so much, both Sunny as well as Rajesh, for joining us and giving us all of the insights, answering all our questions, and of course giving our viewers such insights. But for now, from all of us here, Tamanna, myself, and everyone who puts the show together, thanks so much for watching. Continue watching NDTV Profit. More on the other side.